Welcome back, kids. Got another Godzilla movie for you today. Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla. Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla was made in 1994. Of course, made in Japan by the Toho Film Company. Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla? I mean, just judging by the title alone, this is going to be goofy, right? And it absolutely is. It's goofy, but it takes itself pretty seriously, which makes it even goofier. This is one of the films from the Heisei period of Godzilla movies, starting with Godzilla 1985, and goes all the way to Godzilla vs. Destroyer, which I believe was 1995. So it's a 10-year period. We got like 7 Godzilla movies in there. This is the second to last one of them. It's also my least favorite of that era of Godzilla movies. It's got a really dumb premise, which, okay, it's a Godzilla movie. The premise is dumb to begin with, but this takes it even further afield, I guess you could say. It's literally from outer space. That's your monster. It's like Godzilla versus SpaceGodzilla. He's like Godzilla, but he's from outer space. Okay, so how that's achieved is, I guess, in a previous battle, Godzilla's cells were somehow transported into space. They figure either through Biollante, who kind of like faded into a cloud and shimmering gold dust and flew off into space, or possibly carried on, from like Godzilla's blood or whatever on Mothra, who went into space after Godzilla fought Mothra and Batra in a previous movie. In any case, Godzilla's cells get out into space, and they somehow are mutated and or irradiated by a black hole, and then, evolved in this separate galaxy where it just grew to assimilate this like crystalline form and whatever, and then it comes back into our universe via a white hole or something, heads towards Earth and wants to kill Godzilla and kill the Earth, and I don't know, something like that. They superimpose like a Godzilla cell over this space monster cell, and it's like, oh my god, they're both round. We get a little Godzilla in this one too. So Godzilla lives on an island with his little, juvenile son, and he looks pretty puppety, pretty cutesy. I think they were going for the kids' audience here, just to make it a little more lighthearted than some of the previous entries. And that's all well and good, but it's a little much. Also, you got Mogera, which is a giant robot. And, well, really not a robot. He's more of a piloted vehicle. There's 3 guys inside, and it actually splits into 2 different vehicles. And it's kind of a neat robot, and it looks kind of all right, I guess. It looks a little plasticky and toy-like to be a real gigantic robotic creature. Anyway, yeah, it's a giant robot. It's Mogera, and it helps Godzilla defeat SpaceGodzilla, but it's actually designed to destroy Godzilla. Okay, whatever. And then you get SpaceGodzilla himself. I don't think the monster looks cheap or anything like that. I think he actually looks kind of cool, kind of scary, but something about this just seems really cheesy. It's like he's a mutated form of Godzilla who's attacking Godzilla because reasons, and they don't even really say what those reasons are. And he has like weird powers, like he can summon these crystals or whatever all around the battlefield, and somehow he traps little baby Godzilla in these like crystals that look really cheap. It looks like, is this a stage production? Also, SpaceGodzilla is able to fly, or, well, first of all, he can hover whenever he wants to, but he can also fly great distances, including through space, by forming these, like, crystals all around the outer shell of his body, and he's just, like, stuck on the bottom of it while this crystal meteorite is flying through space or through the atmosphere or whatever. I mean, okay, there's a cool concept, but man, did that look shitty on screen. Like, I don't like making fun of the effects in Godzilla movies very much, but this one, whoa, it looks really bad. Like, the scenes in space, that takes place in space, Mogera actually goes into space to fight SpaceGodzilla and stop him from getting to Earth. And they're flying through an asteroid field and fighting in the asteroid field. And it's so obviously like puppets and stuff. And like it's like there's potatoes just, hanging by wires in a dark room. Like, it looks so cheap. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, they're going for a kid's audience. There isn't really any kid characters in this, though. As a matter of fact, there are no kids in this movie at all. I don't know. I guess they're going. This is supposed to be made for kids because it's really dumb. It's a really simple plot. Well, it's Godzilla, but from space. And there's his son, and his son gets captured, and he has to rescue his son. And Space Godzilla is also trying to destroy the planet, and Mogura's trying to destroy Godzilla. So, okay, there you go. There's all your story elements, and that's all you need, really. And I found like the monster battle in this one was kind of long. I don't think it actually was that long, but it wasn't that exciting. I mean, there was a whole lot of laser beams and stuff flying all over the place, but nothing really happened in it. Godzilla knocks over a tower that apparently SpaceGodzilla is drawing his power from outer space down to Earth to absorb the energy or something. And so I'm not going to diss the story too much because, like, it is what it is. It's a Godzilla movie. They're all silly. I mean, the character storylines are dumb, too. I mean, you get your psychic girl again here. You get Miki Saguma, who tries to telepathically communicate with Godzilla and actually succeeds in doing so. I don't know if she's, like, controlling Godzilla or if she's just sensing his emotions or some shit. And the other characters are pretty hollow and pretty lame. There's one, like, scientist guy that, like, betrays the others because he wants to control Godzilla himself. But he wants to use the psychic to control Godzilla to do what he wants. Then once again, you get a character that has like a vendetta against Godzilla, like something happened in the past. His friend was killed by Godzilla. They even show footage from, I think it's Godzilla versus Biollante, where he's one of the rocket troopers or whatever, and he's shooting Godzilla. And Godzilla destroys the building that he's in and kills him. And I guess this guy in Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla is supposed to be like his friend or, comrade or whatever. And he wants to get revenge and he wants to kill that son of a bitch. Or something. It's kind of boring compared to most of the other ones. Like in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Now that was ridiculous and the dubbing was horrible. And the characters were so stupid and the things that were going on were so stupid. But there was shit going on. In this one, it's like, okay, we're going to try and shoot Godzilla. And it's like scenes of them running along the beach, shooting at Godzilla. It's a 10-minute scene. And yeah, we get to see Godzilla. But just like a bunch of humans, like... And then Godzilla roars and then turns a corner and goes away or something. It's like, that's all that happened in that 10-minute scene. And then the other scenes with Godzilla tend to be a little boring, and the scenes where Godzilla or no monster appears at all are just dreadfully boring. There's nothing going on. Okay, so the science, again, like most Godzilla movies, is it don't make no sense. But it's fun, unfortunately, though, this movie wasn't really that much fun. It was kind of a chore to get through it. It's definitely the most boring of the Heisei series Godzillas. I'd go out on a limb and say it's one of the most boring Godzilla movies there is. So unfortunately, I've got to give Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla a C. C is pretty low, but this is pretty low on my list of Godzilla movies that I'm going to watch again in the future. Because now that I've watched it this time around, I don't need to see this for quite some time because nothing happens in this movie. Space Godzilla comes to Earth. Godzilla breathes radioactive breath on him. Oh, Godzilla's got a kid. Space Godzilla is defeated. The end. See you next time. I mean, I don't have any major complaints about it, but there really wasn't anything that stood out in here. I mean, even a baby Godzilla and a giant robot can't really save this from just being dull as hell. And, yeah, so it's a C. So until the next time, folks, have a good one.